Hello and welcome everybody to today's Bitcoin price analysis. Today we'll be looking at the price of Bitcoin and where we are expecting Bitcoin to be going for the next few hours. If you like the channel, please take time to just subscribe. Click on the subscribe button below. Click on the like button if you like what you see. And we will be giving more content on more coins. And this is the Bitcoin price on the Binance exchange, and that's what we'll be using as our source of data. This is the 15 minutes time frame, and for the Bitcoin price, if you've been following the price, we've been going on a range for a long time, mostly between our 19,000 or 20,000, let's just say the 20,000 range and the 19,000 range. As you can see, there's a heavy support for the 19,000, and we even had a massive breakout right this morning, some few hours ago, but we are back down below. And so we'll just be seeing, looking at the charts and trying to predict what is going to happen both in a few hours and see. As we can see, Bitcoin has been going in this range, and we always say on this channel, trade the range till it breaks, right? But I want to advise that because a lot of people have been doing that and getting wrecked, right? Because they open longs here and they don't know when to close, and yeah, they're still in their longs, and before you know, whoop, the price go down. So I'll really advise you, something that you should really consider is just to wait it out at this period, right? Going to the 30 minutes time frame, as you can see, we're still in that same range, expecting a breakout soon, but as you can see, uh, was still indicators are still telling us there's high probability that we're still going to expect a range for a few days before we'll see a breakout. On the 1 hour time frame, we're seeing a bearish divergence, right? Even on both the MACD and even also our RSI. So we're seeing a bearish divergence. And as we know, we've been in a downward trend for a while. As you can see, our rebounds is showing that we've been on a downward trend. But I still expect some few sideways action still for a few days, maybe till the CPI numbers come out later this week, right, before we see a crash. And I'll tell you in this video why I am expecting a crash. If we move over to our higher time frames, we will see that this makes it clearer, as we could see that we are forming a textbook bearish pattern. As you can see, exactly the same happened. We formed a big uh, bearish pattern, right? And we dropped, formed another big bearish pattern and dropped. And same thing is happening here. We're forming another big bearish pattern, and sooner or later we are going to drop. And I'll give you many reasons why I believe, right, we're going to take out 17,000 and why 17,000 is not necessarily the bottom, and why I still believe that we're still going to make a lower low, or we're still going to go and take out the low at 17,000, and why you should be careful with your trades. If you go up to the higher time frame, such as the 12 hours, you could see we have a massive support block at the 19,000. So there's really massive support at the 19,000 level. But as you could see, we're still on a heavy downtrend, even on the higher time frames. And there's high likelihood, just a matter of time, we're going to break, right, these resistance and probably come down to about the 18 if possible lower, right? If you go to the daily time frame, as you can see, the daily time frame seems to still the same thing, right? But let me show you another chart that really proves to me that the high probability we're going to be moving lower. Now this is the Bitcoin USDT chart on a monthly time frame. As you can see, right, the RSI is in the lowest we've ever gone, right? And some other people are really saying we're at the bottom, right? Having their case for being at the bottom, which is it's quite right, or to a certain extent can be right, or we could believe it. But if we look at our MACD, right, on the monthly, there's still not that bullish divergence that's about to form, right? As you can see, there was a bearish divergence formed here at the bearish cross, right? And that's why we had the bearish cross. And since then, we've been on a downward trend, right? And so we've been on a downward trend for a while. So I believe that we're going to come down a little bit, right? We're going to stay down, if possible, maybe range, maybe take out the lows right here, and then have a massive run. So the bull, we're still in the bull market, but if we can see the RSI, the stock RSI, our stock RSI has already crossed and it's going to go up. But I still believe that the RSI still has a little more downward pressure to go before we move up. If we move to our weekly time frames, we could see that we're still expecting some little upside and then uh, another downside. As you can see, we're literally at a support zone, as you can see, which is around the 19,000. But you can see even the Bolunda band, it's telling us, right, that we could still go as low as 14,000. And so I'm actually expecting the Bitcoin price to go as low as 14,000. I've been saying this, that we could actually go as low as 14,000. As you can see, the RSI, right, is about turning up, but I still believe that this is just a fake out rally, and then we are going to come down if possible to the 14,000. As you can see, the stock RSI is still high, right? We want the stock RSI to come back very low to around possibly the 3 region, or through the 3.1 to the 4 region. As you can see, still high. So I still believe we still have more downward action to go here, and then we're going to dump. And so I still expect the Bitcoin price to come around the 14,000. But this is the weekly, by the way, right? This is the weekly. So we still have possible downward direction for the Bitcoin price, right? And seriously, that is just, and if we even look at it from the 3 days time frame, as you can see, you will already having a bearish divergence on the MACD on the 3 days, right? So we could just have some little pump, maybe to about the 21,900. So probably we just have a little pump so that the stock RSI can have a reset, and probably we could even go as high as 25,000, right, before we dump higher. But I'm expecting a pump, right, so that it could reset the stock RSI and reset the RSI. But because you can see, we're already having the bearish divergence on the 3 days before we dump. So there's high likelihood we should be expecting a dump this week. As you can see, confirming our bias, we could see just a very little bullish momentum both on the MACD. As you could see, every single time we had this, we had a little pump and then a bigger dump. And so I'm expecting, right, that the price goes up a little just for the RSI to correct, and then we will have a bigger dump. Another reason why I also believe that we're going to have a huge dump in the market, right, is if we look at our stock market. If we look at the stock market, right, this is the NASDAQ, and we've continually been saying that Bitcoin has been following the price of the Nasdaq, if possible, 1 to 1. Every time we have seen a dump on Bitcoin, we've also seen a dump on the Nasdaq. Every time we've seen a pump on the Nasdaq, we've seen a pump on Bitcoin. As you can see, we're having some little pump on the Nasdaq, and as you can see, the Bitcoin price is also respecting also that pump. And so for the Nasdaq price on the daily, we're still expecting a little push up, probably for the Nasdaq to the 12,600 level for the Nasdaq before we continue the dump. Especially if you go to our 3 days time frame, you could see that we're really having a bearish divergence on both the RSI and the MACD for the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq is printing a huge bearish divergence, right? A huge bearish, and so we're expecting a huge bearish drop also, because if Bitcoin mirrors the Nasdaq, then everything that the Nasdaq does, we should expect Bitcoin to do almost the same thing. And it's printing a bearish divergence on the 3 days time frame. So I still expect, right, that hopefully we should have a drop on Bitcoin, probably because of the Nasdaq and the stock market. In the next few hours, we're expecting a pump because we're really oversold. So we're expecting the pump on the Nasdaq. Hopefully, the same thing happens to Bitcoin, and we pump for, if even though the Bitcoin price is really looking bearish, right? But we could see open interest going high, and so according to the Nasdaq, we're still expecting some little pump and then a dump, right? And so that's everything I have for you today. Please don't forget to share with your friends, share with everyone you love. Click on the subscribe button, click on the like button. Let's get to 100 likes. Thank you and God bless.